my beloved child, stop everything right now, because what I'm about to say cannot wait another second. Don't scroll. Don't move. Don't let your mind wander. I need you to lean in, because this isn't just another passing message. This is heaven reaching out to your heart. There's something I've been waiting to reveal to you, something your spirit hath been crying out for in silence. You've been asking questions behind closed doors, praying prayers through tears, and trying to hold yourself together while no one sees the breaking inside. But I see it. I've seen every moment you felt like giving up. I was there when you collapsed in exhaustion, when your faith wavered, when you questioned if I even heard you. I have. I always have. And now I have something to tell you, something that will shift your life forever if you will receive it. This is not a coincidence that you're reading this now. You were drawn here, lulled here. I orchestrated this divine interruption because what's about to unfold will make sense of everything that has hurt, everything that has confused you, everything that has seemed silent. I am speaking now, not through thunder, not through dreams, but right here, right now, through these words that carry my breath. What you've been feeling in your chest, that stirring, that heat, that lump in your throat, that's me confirming. I am here, and I need your full attention. Heaven is leaning into your world, and time is shifting around you. This is not a small thing. You are not just anybody to me. You are the one I love, the one I chose, the one I fought for in places you will never see. You've been walking through fire, not realizing it's refining you. You've been carrying burdens that were never yours to bear, and now I'm stepping in to carry you. Because I can't let you move forward without hearing this truth. I'm about to tell you why everything had to happen the way it did, and what I'm doing next in your life. And you must not miss it. Every second from this point matters. So breathe in, and let my words meet the ache in your soul. I'm not far, I'm closer than your next breath. And what I say next will begin to heal the very thing that's been quietly breaking inside you. You don't know how long I've been waiting to share this moment with you. You see only time through clocks and calendars, but I measure it through your soul's longing, through your silent cries at midnight, through the ache you couldn't put into words. Every sigh from your spirit has reached me, and I have treasured each one. This isn't just a conversation, it's a release, a long-awaited unveiling that has been building through every heartbreak you endured, every disappointment you survived, every hope you secretly held onto. I've been patient, watching you. You are standing on holy ground right now because my presence is wrapping around your reality in a way it never has before. I've held back this divine revelation until your heart was soft enough to receive it, until your spirit could handle the weight of what I'm about to place in your life. Nothing has been delayed out of neglect. Every second was timed to perfection. You thought I was being quiet, but I was working. You thought I was ignoring you, but I was protecting you from what would have crushed you if given too soon. Now, the atmosphere around you is shifting. It's no longer about just surviving the storm, it's about stepping into the authority I've placed inside you. I didn't wait because I was distant, I waited because I love you too much to give you something before you were ready to carry it without fear. This is the moment I've longed for, to watch your eyes open not just to the pain you've endured, but to the purpose it has been shaping. What you thought was loss was really divine leverage. What looked like rejection was redirection into the very path that leads to your breakthrough. I see how weary you are from trying to hold it all together. I watch the world misunderstand your silence, overlook your loyalty, and mislabel your journey. But I never misread your heart. I knew you. I knew your motives. I knew your intentions. And I knew the way you kept trusting even when everything inside you was crumbling. And that's why now, this exact second, I am telling you what couldn't be revealed before. You were never walking in circles. You were being circled by angels, protected by grace, and guided by my hand even when it felt like wandering. What I am unfolding in your life now is not random, child. It's the crescendo of years of my quiet orchestration. The people who walked away had to make room for the divine connections I am about to bring. The plans that failed had to fall apart so that the blueprint from heaven could take shape. The tears you cried in isolation watered the soil of your destiny. You thought no one saw, but I counted every drop. And now, those very tears are about to reap a harvest. Not later. Not someday. Now. Right now. This moment you're in is not ordinary. It is sacred. Because the very thing that once haunted you is about to become your greatest testimony. The same voice that felt so distant is now flooding every corner of your life with clarity. I'm here to tell you you were never forgotten, never passed over, never dismissed in heaven's timeline. I was just waiting for this divine second, for this perfect intersection of your readiness and my purpose. Don't miss this. Don't rush past this message. Buzz here. Sit with me. Because from this point forward, your life will not look like what it used to. You've crossed an invisible line. What's behind you no longer has the power to define you. What's ahead of you is bigger than what you even dared to ask for. You weren't late. You weren't left out. You were being led. And now, I will begin to tell you exactly what you were born to hear. In the quiet moments, when the world faded and your thoughts became louder than your surroundings, I watched you trying to make sense of everything. You asked questions no one else could hear. You looked up with eyes full of tears, hoping for a whisper, a sign, a single word that would calm the storm of uncertainty inside you. I saw the way your soul leaned in, not toward noise, but toward stillness, because deep down, you hoped that maybe, just maybe, I was still speaking. And I was. I never stop. But there are things I say only in stillness, truths that echo not through sound, but through the stirring in your spirit. You were not lost. I was drawing you into a place where you could hear me without distraction, without opinions, without interference. And now that you're here, I need you to know this. I am speaking directly into the void that has exhausted you. Not through thunder, not through flashes of wonder, but through clarity that pierces confusion. Through words that wrap around your doubt like a blanket in the cold. I am not offering vague comfort, I am delivering divine insight. What you mistook for my absence was actually my invitation into deeper communion. You didn't fail by questioning. In fact, your questions were sacred. They brought you closer to the doorway of revelation. There's a part of you that wondered if I was disappointed in your wondering, but I wasn't. I welcomed it. I desired it. Because when your soul seeks truth, it draws me near. And now, I'm responding not with the answers you expected, but with the wisdom you didn't even know you needed. I'm not here to explain everything, I'm here to walk with you through what you couldn't bear to carry alone. This is not about solving every mystery, it's about healing the ache that came from not knowing. You asked me why the waiting hurt so much, why your prayers seemed to bounce back in silence, why the pain didn't end when you thought it would. And now I tell you this. Every moment of silence was space being carved out for divine instruction. The ache wasn't abandonment, it was the soil being tilled for understanding that would change everything. And today I'm planting something in that soil. Not just comfort, not just reassurance, but a voice that dismantles fear and ushers in peace. My voice is coming to you now through this message, not as a distant echo but as a present presence. Listen closely. Let every word soak in like rain to dry ground. This isn't just meant to inspire you. It's meant to awaken you. You've grown accustomed to surviving in the dark, but I've come to light the way forward. What you couldn't figure out with your mind, I will now reveal to your heart. Not all at once, but steadily, intentionally, until you no longer feel like you're fumbling for fragments of understanding. You will begin to see. You will begin to feel peace where there was once torment. Not because your situation shifted, but because you realized I've been speaking all along. You're not alone in your thoughts. I'm right there, entwined in the very questions you've carried. And now, I invite you to hear me not with your ears, but with the deepest part of your being. I've come not just to answer, but to transform, to lead, to anchor, to rebuild what confusion tried to erode. And I promise you this: after this encounter, your silence will never feel the same again. Because from now on, you will know when the world grows quiet, it's not emptiness, It's me, waiting to speak again. There is a stirring happening inside you right now that you can't quite describe, an intensity that's wrapping itself around your chest, an unexplainable awareness rising up within you. It's not coincidence. It's not confusion. It's not something you created or imagined. That pull you feel deep in your soul, that sudden weight of emotion, that heaviness in your spirit, that internal trembling that you're trying to make sense of. It's me. I'm reaching into the very core of your being, not to startle you but to realign you. This moment, this very breath, is sacred. You may think you just stumbled upon these words or that it's all a byproduct of timing. But let me assure you, you were drawn here. You were hand-guided here, not by chance, but by a love that has been pursuing you through every moment of your story. I have been gently pressing into your awareness through every sleepless night, every quiet tear, every moment when you paused and thought, something is missing. You've tried to explain away this sense of longing. You've busied yourself, tried distractions, ignored the echo, but it kept returning, didn't it? That feeling that there is more, that you are being pulled towards something you can't quite put words around, that sensation you've carried like a whisper inside your bones. It is me. I've been quietly surrounding you, whispering my name into the corners of your mind, inviting you to come away from the noise and into this stillness where my voice waits. It's not anxiety, it's awakening. It's not fear, it's focus. The discomfort you're feeling isn't punishment, it's me loosening your grip from what can't go with you into your next season. You've grown used to survival. But I didn't call you to survive, I called you to thrive in my presence. You weren't meant to live numb, confused, or fragmented. That unrest is a holy alarm sounding in your soul, alerting you that I am closer than I've ever been. I am calling you into alignment with your purpose, into clarity with your identity, into a relationship that goes beyond words, religion, or routine. This is about me and you, just us. Not performance, not perfection, just presence. I know you felt isolated, like no one truly understands what's going on inside you. But that's because what I'm doing in you is spiritual. It's intimate. It's heavenly. Others weren't meant to interpret it, it's not for them. It's between you and me. What you feel right now, this weight in your chest, this trembling in your spirit, this overflow of emotion you weren't expecting, this is holy. Don't suppress it. Don't explain it away. Let it rise. Let it break open every wall you built just to cope. Let it melt every layer of hardness that life's disappointments tried to place over your heart. Because I am calling you by name, and when I call, it disrupts everything that's not from me. It rattles the lies you've believed. It unsettles the fear you've carried. It exposes the empty places you've tried to fill with things that never satisfied. And it brings to light the truth. You were created for more than just enduring. You were created for closeness with me. And that's why I'm pulling you in, not to overwhelm you, but to restore what's been lost along the way. There's a nearness I'm offering right now that cannot be earned, only accepted. Don't harden your heart. Don't run. Don't reason it away. Just stay. Just breathe. Just listen. Because this nearness you feel right now isn't just a moment, it's me preparing you for a divine encounter that will change the way you see everything. What you feel isn't just emotion, it's the beginning of transformation. You may have gone unnoticed by people, but you've never once slipped out of my sight. In rooms where your presence felt like it faded into the background, in conversations where your voice trembled and no one leaned in seasons where you silently cried yourself to sleep without a single soul checking, and I was there. I counted each tear before it left your eyes. I felt the weight of what you carried before anyone else even saw the signs. You weren't overlooked by me, not for a moment. Your name has never been buried under the noise of the world. In fact, I have whispered it before angels. I have spoken your worth into the fabric of heaven. Your pain has not been ignored, it has been stored. Stored in a sacred place where it is transformed into the very foundation of the healing I'm bringing. You have felt invisible at times because the world has a habit of seeing only what it wants: loudness, perfection, performance. But I don't look where they look. I don't measure your value by their standards. I don't need applause to affirm your existence. I see you when you can't even see yourself clearly. I watch you love deeply, even when that love isn't returned. I watch you give, even when your hands feel empty. I see the effort it takes to keep going when everything in you wants to disappear. You've learned how to function with wounds no one acknowledged. You've learned how to smile when your heart was breaking quietly. But now, I am stepping into that hidden place, the place where you locked away the sorrow because you didn't want to burden anyone else. I'm opening the door, not to bring shame, but to bring restoration. Those tears you thought were wasted, they were planting something eternal, something holy. You thought they were signs of weakness, but they were the proof of your strength. They revealed how deeply you still hoped, how fiercely you still believed, even in the absence of recognition. I'm not ashamed of your tears, I treasure them. I hold them close because they tell a story only you and I fully know. And now, I am responding to them. What was kept in the dark is coming into the light, not for exposure, but for renewal. I'm bringing honor to the places where you've only known shame. I'm lifting your head where it's bowed low, not just because it's time, but because you are more precious to me than you have ever realized. I don't just see your tears, I understand them. I know what triggered them. I know the stories behind them that no one else bothered to ask. And I want you to know this. I wept with you, not as a distant observer, but as a loving Savior who feels what you feel more deeply than you can comprehend. Every tear marked a moment where I was working behind the veil. Every tear created a thread I am now weaving into something that will make others wonder how such beauty was born from such pain. Don't believe the lie that says you're forgotten. Don't let loneliness convince you that you're unseen. I have never turned away from you. My eyes have never grown tired of watching over you. While others scrolled past your suffering or changed the subject when your emotions surfaced, I remained. I lingered. I stayed. And I will keep staying. Because your value doesn't fade when your strength does. You're not hidden to me. You're the heartbeat of my compassion. And I promise you those tears will not end in sorrow. They will be the water that causes joy to rise again in places you thought would always remain dry. You've done everything you can to keep moving forward with that heaviness pressing against your chest, trying to mask the pressure behind your daily routine, behind your tired smile, behind the quiet moments where your thoughts spiral into exhaustion. You carry it into the night when the world sleeps, into your conversations when no one notices, into your dreams when you can't find rest. You've been carrying what was never meant to be held alone. You've convinced yourself that if you just push through a little longer, somehow you'll feel lighter. But it hasn't left, has it? The weight keeps pressing, slowly draining your energy, clouding your joy, and stealing your peace. I see it. I know exactly what it is. You haven't had the words to explain it even to yourself, but I know it fully. You've layered it with silence, covered it with strength, and called it responsibility. But what you call strength, I call burden. What you've normalized, I call overloaded. And I did not create you to walk through life suffocating under the pressure of what you feel you must fix, protect, hide, or endure. Child, I am not asking you to hold it together, I'm asking you to let me hold you. That pressure, that tension, that deep unrest you keep pushing down, I want it. Not because I need it, but because it's crushing you. And I didn't form you to be crushed, I formed you to flourish. You were not created to be a container for pain. You were formed to be a vessel for peace, a carrier of joy, a reflection of my love. And yet here you are, weighed down by expectations, by memories, by guilt, by what ifs and what could have beens, by worries that screamed louder than hope. That I didn't come to watch you carry it, I came to take it from you. I want you to lay it down, not just some of it, not just what's convenient to release, but all of it. Every unspoken concern, every hidden wound, every silent fear. Lay it at my feet. Let me lift it from you, not temporarily, not symbolically, but completely. I'm not offering you a momentary relief, I'm offering a divine exchange. Your burden for my strength, your anxiety for my peace, your sorrow for my comfort. But you must be willing to surrender it. Not because you failed, but because you were never meant to bear this load alone. You've learned to function with the heaviness, to cope with it, to manage it. But I didn't call you to manage pain, I called you to walk in freedom. The inner pressure that you've grown used to, it's not part of your identity. It's not your cross to carry. It's not a sign of your maturity. It's a signal that something needs to be released. And I am right here, arms open, heart ready, waiting for you to hand it over. Let me absorb what hath been absorbing your strength. Let me calm what has been shaking your mind. You don't have to have a breakdown to give me what's heavy. You don't have to hit rock bottom for me to respond. I'm not waiting for you to collapse, I'm inviting you to rest. Right now. Right here. This isn't about proving you're strong. This is about letting yourself be held. You can exhale now. You can stop pretending. You can stop enduring. Just give it to me. Speak it, cry it, whisper it, release it, I'll catch every part of it. I am the only one who can carry it without breaking, and I will not just carry the weight, you'll watch me turn it into something glorious. This burden isn't the end of your story. It's the place where surrender gives birth to breakthrough. You've been holding yourself up for far longer than you should have, pushing forward through waves that were never meant to be faced alone. I've watched you carry burdens with trembling hands, trying to convince yourself and others that you're okay, even when the pressure behind your eyes and the ache in your chest said otherwise. You've kept your pain private, convinced that if you just hold on a little longer, everything will somehow settle. But I need you to hear me now. Your strength has served its season, but now it's time for mine to take over. You've done enough. You've tried. You've endured. You've walked through storms without a map and stood tall when the ground was crumbling underneath you. But even the strongest warriors were never meant to fight alone forever. I see the weariness that you try to hide behind your smile. I see the fatigue that creeps in during the quiet moments, when no one is watching. You don't have to keep proving how much you can handle. I never asked you to prove anything. I asked you to trust me. And that includes trusting me enough to let go of the illusion that you have to be unshakable all the time. My strength begins exactly where yours ends. And right now, I am extending mine toward you, not because you failed, but because I want to show you how powerful my presence can be when you let me take over. You're not meant to run on empty. You're not meant to survive on scraps of peace, hoping something shifts. I offer you an everlasting well of renewal that does not run dry. But to draw from it, you must release the pressure you've placed upon yourself to be the one who holds it all together. I am the glue for what's breaking. I am the fire when your spark is gone. I am the steady hand when your grip loosens. You don't have to keep waking up every day trying to muster just enough emotional strength to make it to the next hour. That is not the life I died to give you. I didn't rescue you so you could still feel like you're drowning in expectations, in grief, in fear. You're exhausted not because you're weak, but because you've been operating outside of the grace I'm trying to pour over you. My grace is not a concept, it's a force. It lifts, it shields, it empowers. And I'm offering it to you right now, not in part, but in fullness. Lean on me. Collapse into me. Let me be the one who stands for you when your legs can't. This isn't weakness, it's sacred trust. I already know how hard you've tried. I already see how far you've come. Now let me take you further without asking you to break yourself in the process. This chapter will not be defined by how much you carried, it will be defined by how deeply you allowed me to carry you. You will not earn strength by pushing harder, you will receive strength by yielding deeper. Rest isn't a reward for finishing the battle, it's the strategy I designed to carry you through it. I didn't call you to constant tension. I called you to divine dependency. That means no more hiding behind busyness, no more covering your vulnerability with perfection, no more telling yourself, I'm fine, when inside you're unraveling. Bring me your breaking point, and I will make it your breakthrough point. My strength is not delayed, it's waiting. Waiting for your surrender. Waiting for your yes. Waiting for the moment you say, Jesus, I can't keep doing this alone. And when you do, you'll feel the weight shift. You'll feel the calm rise. You'll feel me take hold not as a distant savior, but as your present support. From this moment forward, you don't have to be strong for everyone. You only need to be held by me. You've been walking through shadows, carrying the questions that no one else hears, the kind that echo louder at night and weigh heavier in the morning. You've wondered if there was something wrong with you, if perhaps you made a wrong turn, missed a sign, or disappointed me somewhere along the way. You've replayed moments, second-guessed choices, and tried to trace the path that led you to this unfamiliar and painful place. I've seen you trying to piece together your own timeline, attempting to extract meaning from silence and direction from broken pieces. You're not weak for wondering. You're not lost because you're asking. These aren't doubts, they're the whispers of a heart desperate to understand a journey that didn't unfold the way it hoped. And I am not angry with your questions. I welcome them. I sit with them, because I know the depth from which they come. You don't ask because you lack faith, you ask because you've held on when everything inside of you was trembling. And now, let me give you something your heart hasn't heard in a while, permission to not have all the answers. What felt like chaos to you was a hidden choreography, an unfolding of unseen battles, divine interventions, and redirections that were working even when they looked like closed doors and painful detours. You looked at what broke and assumed it meant failure, but I saw it as release. I saw relationships leave that would have drained your soul in the years to come. I let dreams fall apart because they were built on foundations that couldn't support what I've truly planned for you. I allowed time to stretch out longer than you expected so that patience could shape you into someone who could carry what's coming. Every delay, every no, every unexplained season wasn't random, it was refinement. And yes, I know it hurt. I know it didn't make sense. I know it made you feel like I had stepped back. But I never left your side. Not once. Even in your deepest questions, I stayed. I cried with you. I fought for you. I shielded you from what you never even saw. And though I didn't always remove the pain, I embedded purpose into it. Because some of the most sacred growth comes not from explanations, but from enduring what cannot be explained yet trusting me anyway. And you did. Even when your voice shook. Even when your faith flickered. Even when you felt numb, you still looked for me. And now, I want you to know I saw it all. The internal battles. The mental weight. The moments when your heart whispered, "Why does it have to be like this?" And here's my answer. It had to be this way not to harm you, but to prepare you. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Every unanswered prayer was a door rerouted. Every closed chapter was a canvas I'm now painting with colors far beyond what you imagined. I'm not done. I never was. And nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not a single question. The journey you thought was falling apart was actually being rerouted towards something far more eternal than anything you could build with your own hands. You'll see it soon. The connections that make sense. The breakthroughs that explain the silence. The provision that redeems the pain. You'll look back on what crushed you and realize it with a very weight that deepened your roots. For now, I just need you to keep breathing. Keep trusting. Keep walking even when you don't understand. Because I'm walking with you and understanding will come. Clarity will arrive. But until then, let me hold your questions, and I'll hold you too. You've been walking through this season thinking it's just been about pain, survival, and making it through the day, but I need you to understand something now. What you've been facing has roots far deeper than what's visible. This hasn't just been a difficult chapter. It's been a divine excavation. What looked like a storm sent to shake you was actually a process designed to expose what needed healing and make room for what's coming. The struggle has never been random. Beneath the surface of everything you've endured, I've been shaping something eternal. The resistance you've been up against hasn't been a punishment, it's been pressure that reveals what's been hidden too long. You see, when I allow struggle, I'm not abandoning you, I'm awakening things within you that couldn't rise without fire. I know it's been uncomfortable. I know you've cried out asking, why is this so heavy? Why is it so personal? Why does it feel like I'm being undone from the inside out? And the reason is this: I am not interested in surface-level change. I'm not coming just to make things look better on the outside, I've come to completely restore from the inside. What you call struggle, I call sacred construction. I've been digging into the foundations, not to destroy you, but to strengthen what's underneath so that when I build the next season, it won't collapse under pressure. There were cracks forming, cracks you didn't see. Patterns that were slowly limiting your growth. Thoughts that were keeping you bound. Cycles that were disguising themselves as normal. And I couldn't let you carry those into the next chapter I've written for you. So yes, I allowed the discomfort. I allowed the breaking. But only so I could bring the breakthrough that lasts. Child, I don't just want to fix what hurt you. I want to rewire what taught you to expect pain. I don't just want to remove the fear you've learned to live with. I want to replace it with truth so strong that fear loses all ground. I know that sounds overwhelming, but listen to me. I'm walking you through this, not dragging you. I am not standing over you demanding change, I'm beside you, loving you into it. The reason this season feels so intense is because it's not just about what's happening around you, it's about what I'm activating inside of you. Strength you never knew you had. Faith that isn't built on outcomes but on my presence. Endurance that grows even in the dark. You thought the struggle was about one thing: money, relationships, health, rejection, delay, but it's been about something much deeper. It's been about identity. It's been about reclaiming who you really are, not who life tried to convince you to become. The struggle has been stripping away the false narratives you picked up along the way, the ones that told you you're too broken, too late, too unqualified. And now, I'm writing a new narrative, one that begins from the ashes of this very battle. I will reveal it, piece by piece, as you walk with me. Don't rush the unveiling. The deeper the worry, the grayer the glory. I'm not just working on your circumstances, I'm working in your soul. And when I'm finished, you'll understand why it had to happen this way. You'll see how it all fits together, not as separate tragedies, but as a tapestry woven with purpose. For now, just know this: your struggle is not a sign of defeat. It's the evidence that something holy is being formed in you. Don't resist the process. Rest in my promise. I'm going to show you how all of this, yes, even the hardest parts, were never wasted. You'll see the depth. You'll see the reason. And when you do, you'll also see me right in the center of it all, never letting go. I know how painful it was to wait while others moved ahead, to hold on to hope while the door you prayed for stayed closed, and to feel like time was working against you. You assumed the silence meant rejection, that my stillness was the result of your shortcomings, that perhaps I was displeased with you. But hear me now, what you interpreted as denial was me shielding you. You didn't fail. You weren't forgotten. You were being preserved for something that required precise timing. You wanted movement. I wanted maturity. You wanted access. I wanted alignment. Because what you were asking for would have harmed you if it had arrived before your soul was ready to carry it. I'm not interested in giving you things that impress people but destroy your peace. My love for you won't allow me to hand over something prematurely. You think I said no, but I said not yet, because I was setting things in place that you couldn't yet see. The detours, the redirections, the delays, they were not designed to break you. They were sent to build you, to teach your spirit patience when your flesh wanted speed, to refine your discernment when your feelings blurred clarity, to equip you to stand firm when everything else felt unstable. I protected you from rushing into places that were not prepared for your arrival. I held you back from relationships that would have drained the purpose I've planted in you. I blocked opportunities that looked good but carried consequences hidden beneath the surface. Every delay was a divine hand holding back the flood until the foundation was fortified. You see only a pause, I see a pause with a purpose. I'm not late. I'm not distant. I've been right on schedule, working all things together, not for instant gratification, but for lasting impact. You felt left behind, but I was pulling you ahead of pain that could have taken you under. I didn't forget what you prayed. I didn't ignore what you cried for. I've collected every word, every tear, and every moment you surrendered even when it hurt. And now, I want you to see this truth. Delay is not always denial, it is often the preparation of destiny. I wasn't withholding blessings to punish you. I was refining your capacity to receive what's far greater than what you imagined. The things you've waited longest for are the things I'm most involved in. I don't rush what I love. And I love you too much to let you settle for anything that would dilute the calling I've placed over your life. Some doors were closed not because you lacked faith, but because I had a better destination. And yes, the waiting stretched you. It brought you to your knees. It made you feel like nothing was moving. But in that stillness, I was doing surgery on your soul. I was untangling fear from your expectations. I was removing pride masked as persistence. I was healing wounds that would have bled into your blessing. And now that the work has been done in the secret place, I'm about to bring you into a season of visible release. But you'll carry it differently this time. Not with striving, but with security. Not with anxiety, but with authority. Not with fear, but with fire. Because you'll know what it cost. You'll remember what I kept you from. And when the doors swing open, you'll walk through them with the humility of someone who's seen me in the waiting and found me to be faithful. So don't resent the delay. Reverence it. It was my mercy in motion. It was my hand shielding what your eyes couldn't see. And now, because you trusted me in the delay, I am releasing what could only come after the refining. Watch closely, what's ahead carries my signature. You didn't miss it. You were being made ready. You stood before those places with hope in your eyes and expectation in your heart. You knocked with faith. You prayed with boldness. You believed I would make a way. And when the doors stayed shut, when the silence lingered, and nothing moved, you questioned your worth, your decisions, even your purpose. You assumed that if something did open, it was because you were unqualified, unworthy, or misaligned. But I need to tell you something now that will bring peace to your heart. Those doors didn't open because they were not part of your destiny. They were never written into the script I designed for your life. You thought they held opportunity, but I saw what was behind them. You thought they would bring progress, but I saw the pain they would eventually lead to. I did not withhold them out of disappointment, I withheld them out of devotion. My love for you has always been protective. I don't just prepare things for you, I also prepare you for the right things. And when something doesn't open, it's not a mark against you, it's a sign that I'm guarding your calling. You see only the exterior of what those doors represented, the title, the relationship, the opportunity, the comfort. But I see the entirety of what's hidden on the other side. And some of those doors, no matter how golden they appeared, would have taken more from you than they gave. You would have compromised too much, lost yourself too deeply, forgotten who you were, trying to hold on to something that looked like a blessing but wasn't born of me. You have to understand, not every open door is divine, and not every closed door is a loss. I closed what needed to remain shut so I could redirect you toward what your heart truly craves: peace that cannot be shaken, joy that isn't fleeting, purpose that stretches into eternity. They hurt, I know. I saw your disappointment. I watched the tears fall when what you built your hopes on crumbled. But I wasn't absent in those moments. I was near. I was the one gently pulling you away from something you couldn't yet see would damage your soul. I knew that if you had walked through that door, it would have distracted you from the calling I've been forming within you since before you took your first breath. I want more for you than temporary satisfaction. I want fulfillment that carries my presence, purpose that aligns with my promises, and opportunities that won't force you to shrink just to stay. The doors I open will never require you to abandon your identity. The opportunities I bring will never require you to dim your light to make others comfortable. When the door is from me, it won't feel like striving, it will feel like peace. You won't have to beg for it. You won't have to chase it. You'll walk into it with assurance, not anxiety. And it will fit not because you compromise it, but because I customized it for you. So breathe now. Stop mourning over what didn't happen. Don't look back at those locked doors like they were missed opportunities. They were actually redirections, guest of rejections. You were not left out. You were let out. And what I'm bringing you into won't just be a door, it'll be a gate. A gateway into something larger than you imagined. Something that echoes the truth of who I created you to be. The closed doors taught you discernment. They trained your heart to recognize the counterfeit. And now, you're more prepared than ever to recognize what's truly from me. So don't question your journey just because something didn't open. That wasn't the end, it was the beginning of your true path. And child, the next door that opens will never ask you to doubt my love again. You've waited, you've wept, and you've wondered if anything would ever shift in your favor. You've stared at unopened doors for so long that disappointment became familiar, and you stopped expecting anything different. But I am telling you now, prepare yourself, because I am opening something no person, no circumstance, no force of darkness will be able to close. This is not like the doors you've seen before. This is not a moment of barely getting through or just making it by. This is a divine release and unlocking of something sealed by my authority, created specifically for your name, your purpose, and your destiny. What I'm setting into motion cannot be hindered by those who doubted you, nor revoked by those who misjudged you. They didn't authorize it, so they cannot cancel it. The enemy has tried to convince you that access was denied because you weren't enough, but he's terrified because he knows I'm about to give you entry into a place of favor and breakthrough that will shift your entire life. This is not about proving them wrong, it's about proving my promise is right. What's opening is bigger than anything you've asked for. You've prayed for a door, I'm giving you a gateway into something greater. This isn't a seasonal blessing. It's a permanent shift. I'm not just giving you a glimpse, I'm giving you a key. And no one else can use it. It wasn't made for them. It was molded for you, shaped by your tears, refined through your trials, activated by your perseverance. This is the reward of staying faithful in the hallway, when all you had was my word and a locked door in front of you. You did give up when it would have been easier to walk away. You didn't stop praying when it seemed pointless. You kept knocking even when your knuckles were bruised with disappointment. And now, the door is moving. Heaven has responded. The latch is lifting. And what's behind it is more than just opportunity, it's destiny unfolding. This door won't be like the ones you begged for in the past. This one comes with peace, provision, clarity, and alignment. You won't have to force it. You won't have to fight for recognition. I've already placed your name on the other side, and no one can steal it, and no one can block it. The very ones who tried to shut you out will watch as I usher you into a space they said you'd never reach. But you will not enter this door with pride, you will enter with humility, with reverence, with gratitude born from the pain of the wait. Because you will know this wasn't you pushing your way in. This was me flinging it wide open because the time has come. No demon can bolt it. No opinion can override it. No past mistake can disqualify you from it. When I open something, it stays open not for a moment, but for a movement. This door is more than access, it's an announcement that your wilderness is ending. It's the start of a harvest season where seeds you forgot you planted will start breaking through the soil. And as you walk through this divine opening, you'll realize why the others stayed shut. You'll realize that what I'm doing now isn't just for this moment, it's to establish legacy, stability, and fruit that will last. So lift your eyes. Shake off the sorrow of what didn't happen. You're about to step into what couldn't happen until now. I'm not just unlocking the way forward, I'm walking with you through it. And once I open it, child, nothing and no one will be able to shut it again. This moment is not ordinary. and neither is what you're about to step into. I need you to understand the weight of where you are right now, not in your location, but in your spirit. You are at a threshold, one so sacred that all of heaven has turned its attention toward your next step. You are not just transitioning into a new chapter, you are crossing over into something that will not only shape the rest of your life, but ripple into eternity. What's ahead isn't just a reward for surviving. It's a divine commissioning. I've been leading you here quietly, patiently, sometimes through detours that confused you, sometimes through silence that tested you, but every step has brought you closer to this edge. And now, you're standing in a space between what has been and what will never be the same again. This is holy ground, and the tension you feel, the mix of anticipation, fear, excitement, and reverence is not your imagination. It's your spirit recognizing that what's ahead is not just a blessing, it's a calling that will mark your legacy. What I'm about to unfold will not just elevate your life, it will affect lives connected to your obedience. You thought this was about you, about your healing, your breakthrough, your answers. But it's so much more. It's about the generations that will rise from your surrender. The lives that will be changed because you chose to trust me when you couldn't see. The chains that will fall off others because you refused to give up. I am positioning you not only to receive, but to release. This is about destiny, about kingdom impact, about becoming a vessel I can trust with influence, wisdom, and compassion. That's why the pressure has been so intense. That's why the fire hath been so fierce. I've been refining you for this. You are not being elevated for applause, you are being entrusted with purpose. And you don't have to fear it. You don't have to wonder if you're ready. I've already equipped you. Everything you need for what's ahead has been deposited deep within you, some of it dormant, some of it still unfolding, but all of it divinely placed. You may feel unqualified, unsure, even undeserving, but that's why it's me leading. I don't call the prepared, I prepare the called. And you have been called not by accident, not by man, but by me. You're not standing at this edge because of your efforts alone, you're here because grace has carried you. And now, as you look forward, I want you to release the fear that something will go wrong. Let go of the hesitation that's been keeping you planted in past disappointments. What's coming is not a repeat of yesterday, it's a new realm altogether. You're about to encounter my hand in ways you've never imagined. You'll feel my guidance so clearly it will be undeniable. You'll walk into moments that seem surreal because they are answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. This is a divine unveiling, one step of faith at a time. But you must move. You can't stay on the edge forever. Faith isn't about comfort, it's about courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move anyway, knowing who is with you. I will walk you into this. I will go before you and surround you. There is nothing you will face on the other side of this threshold that I haven't already overcome. This is a launch into destiny. This is a shift that will realign everything. And this time, you won't walk through it overwhelmed, you'll walk through it empowered. You're not who you used to be. This is not where your story plateaus, it's where it ascends. The edge you're standing on, it's not an end. It's a beginning designed by me, sustained by me, and waiting only for your yes. You feel the shift. You sense the invitation. You're aware that something has changed, but before you step into what's next, I need to slow you down, not to delay you, but to anchor you. There's something unfolding around you that cannot be approached casually. It's not simply about entering a new phase of life, it's about stepping into alignment with a plan I've been weaving for far longer than you've realized. If you move too quickly, you'll miss the reason behind the release. You'll assume it's about opportunity when it's really about obedience. You'll chase the visible and ignore the invisible foundation I've been laying underneath your waiting. That's why I'm pausing you here, not to confuse you, but to make you conscious. There are things I've been dismantling in secret places, internal beliefs, unseen fears, false identities you unknowingly built around rejection and disappointment. You've been trying to run toward the promise, but I need to ensure that what's buried beneath your excitement won't sabotage what I'm trusting you with. This isn't about proving your faith, it's about preparing your heart. I'm not asking you to sprint forward. I'm asking you to pay attention. Because this isn't just transition, it's transformation. And I don't want you to carry remnants of your old season into the soil of this new one. If you do, you'll try to recreate something I've already outgrown. You'll reach for methods that no longer work. You'll speak words over your future that were born from wounds in your past. And that's not the identity I've written over you. That's not the voice I've placed within you. Before you go, I want to reveal the truth about what I've been doing, not just around you, but within you. I've been softening the hardened places. I've been untangling you from invisible attachments. I've been removing the influence of wrong voices that planted seeds of fear in the soil of your confidence. This process has been deeper than you realized. And the reason I haven't rushed it is because I'm not after temporary growth, I'm building something eternal. And eternal things require eternal perspective. So listen closely now. What I'm doing is not just blessing your steps, I'm correcting your vision. I'm recalibrating your discernment so you don't mistake distraction for direction. I'm tuning your ears so you can hear my whispers again without second-guessing them. I'm clearing out the emotional clutter so your heart has space to carry revelation. Because what's ahead cannot be stewarded casually. It's holy, and so are you. This next part of your journey will require a depth of awareness that only comes from communion with me, not from rushing, not from ambition, but from intimacy. If you rush, you'll reach a place your character isn't prepared to handle. But if you pause with me, if you allow me to finish this deep internal restoration, I'll send you forward with clarity so sharp that nothing will be able to shake your confidence again. I don't want you to step forward hoping it works. I want you to step forward knowing it's me. That assurance only comes when you know the author behind the assignment. And I want you to know me not through second-hand faith, not through religious routine, but through personal encounter. Sit with me in this sacred stillness. Let me show you what I've healed. Let me highlight the lies you've been freed from. Let me remind you who you truly are when you're not performing, pretending, or pushing. You'll see that what felt like a wilderness was actually a womb. What felt like delay was development. And what looked like silence was strategy. This moment is not about holding you back. It's about launching you with wisdom, with precision, and with vision that sees beyond the surface. And when the moment comes to move, you won't hesitate. You will walk forward with fire because you will know not just where you're going, but why you're going. And that revelation will make all the difference. You've walked into spaces hoping to be embraced, but instead left feeling like a shadow among voices louder than your own. You smiled through the sting of invisibility, adjusted your tone, your posture, your words just to fit in or avoid being dismissed again. You celebrated others while silencing your own need to be seen. And though you didn't speak of it often, the ache stayed with you, the ache of being present but overlooked, involved but never truly acknowledged, near but never fully welcomed. But hear me clearly now, you were never invisible to me. In every setting where your worth was missed, I saw it fully. I watched the moments you made room for others while shrinking your own brilliance. I observed how you gave without recognition, how you loved without limits, how you served even when your heart was empty. They may have missed it, but I did. And I need you to know that their inability to see your value was never a measure of your identity. Your worth has never been tied to their affirmation. I didn't place you in those rooms for validation, I placed you there for observation. I was watching how you would respond when you weren't the center, when applause was withheld, when doors didn't swing open at your arrival. Not because I delight in your discomfort, but because I was forming a strength in you that only grows in hiddenness. There's a depth I was cultivating in your soul that could never be developed in places of popularity. I allowed you to experience the sting of being underestimated so that when I elevate you, you will carry it with grace, not pride. When I promote you, you'll remember the weight of being unseen, and you will never let another soul feel what you once felt. The way you kept your heart soft in the face of dismissal, it mattered. The way you chose to love even after being overlooked, it moved me. The way you honored others while you remained in the shadows, it was worship to me. And now, I'm about to shift your position, not so you can be praised by those who once ignored you, but so you can finally see yourself through my eyes. No more rooms where you have to prove your worth. No more tables where you have to fight for a seat. I'm preparing a place where your presence will not just be tolerated, it will be necessary. I'm sending you into environments where your voice will be valued, your gifts will be recognized, and your heart will be safe. Not because you need to be seen to matter, but because it's time for others to see what I've seen in you all along. I've watched you be loyal in the background. I've seen how you never let bitterness take root, even when it tried. That's why I can trust you with visibility now, because you know what it means to be faithful in obscurity. You won't misuse the influence. You won't seek attention for validation. You'll use your platform to lift others, to love purely, to lead with humility. And the very places that dismissed you will witness my favor on your life, not as revenge, but as revelation. They will see what they missed. They will realize what I've known all along, that you carry my presence, my wisdom, my purpose. And this time, child, you will no longer wonder if you belong. You'll walk with the assurance that you were never overlooked. You were being reserved for something far greater than applause. You were being set apart for the kind of influence that is birthed in silence, watered by humility, and raised by my hand alone. You didn't always have the strength to say it out loud, but your soul has been weeping. Behind your steady words and the smile you wear to make others comfortable, there were moments when your heart broke in secret. You didn't scream for help, but you didn't need to. Because I heard every cry that never reached your lips. I felt the sorrow that sat quietly in your chest while the world went on around you, unaware. In those nights where your pillow caught what your voice could not express, in those still moments where your only prayer was a tear, I was there. I was leaning close. I never needed you to shout for me to respond. Your pain spoke a language that pierced heaven. Every breath laced with grief, every pause filled with heaviness, every heartbeat that carried pain like a hidden passenger, I heard all of it. You thought no one knew. You believed no one would understand. But I knew. I understood. I absorbed every unspoken word into my own heart, and I did not look away. Even when you questioned whether I was listening, I never turned from you. Even when you wondered if your silence was too quiet for heaven to hear, I was already responding in ways you didn't see. Your cries were never wasted. They were seeds of surrender. They were moments of pure vulnerability that I gathered like treasures. The world only responds to noise, to performance, to volume. But I respond to the whisper of brokenness. I lean into the honesty of stillness. And your quiet suffering moved me more than you'll ever comprehend. You don't have to hide it anymore. You don't have to be afraid of what others might think if they saw how much you've been holding in. I already see it all. And I'm not overwhelmed by it, I'm moved with compassion. That sorrow you thought you had to carry alone, I'm lifting it now. Not because you finally broke down, but because you've reached a place where I can step in fully. You've given me access, not through words, but through your ache. You've made room for me, not with speeches, but with silence. And I honor that. I'm not asking for eloquence. I'm not waiting for the perfect prayer. All I need is your surrender. And you've already offered it in the form of those tears you cried while no one else noticed. Those moments counted in eternity. They were not invisible. They were not ignored. They were not too small for my attention. You matter to me far more than your circumstances suggest. You are seen in your stillness. You are loved in your low points. You are cherished even when no one checks in. I've counted every tear and woven them into the very healing I'm bringing. I'm sending peace to places where anxiety lived for too long. I'm breathing hope into rooms you once cried in. And I'm bringing joy to the same heart that thought it would never feel light again. This is the part of the story where restoration begins, not because you shouted for it, but because I heard the whisper that no one else could. You've cried long enough in the dark. A morning is coming, and with it, a joy so personal, so profound, that even your most silent sorrow will be answered with light. You may have wondered if I was just watching from a distance, observing your life from some unreachable height, too holy to be touched by your human struggle. But that's not who I am. I've never been far. I've never taken a passive role in your life. I didn't simply glance in your direction once and move on. I've walked with you through every second, every hidden moment, every breath you took in confusion, exhaustion, or pain. My presence hasn't flickered in and out based on your emotions. I've been actively present in ways you didn't recognize. In the decisions you struggled to make, I was there giving you nudges you didn't know came from me. In the moments you felt like falling apart, I was the stillness that held you together. In the times when you thought, I don't think I can take one more step, I was the unseen strength pushing you forward anyway. You don't even know how many things I've protected you from. You weren't aware of the collisions I rerouted, the betrayals I blocked, the downward spirals I interrupted. My involvement in your life is not casual, it's constant. I'm in the details, the ones that seem insignificant to others, the ones you've dismissed as coincidences. I've shown up in conversations that brought clarity at just the right time. I've sent peace to your heart when it made no sense to feel calm. I've surrounded you with unseen grace when the world around you felt unstable. I am not only present when you're praying, I'm with you when you're doubting. I don't just show up in churches, I stand beside you in hallways, hospital rooms, grocery stores, and traffic jams. There has not been a single second when I wasn't there. You don't need to climb up to reach me. You don't need perfect words to connect with me. I'm already here. I always have been. And when you sighed in frustration, when you buried your face in your hands, when your heart broke mid-conversation and you had to pretend you were fine, I was involved. I caught the pieces. I noted the shift. I placed my hand over the places that were bruised, not with judgment, not with pressure, with tenderness, with gentleness. I'm not afar of God. I'm not too distant to care. I'm entangled in your journey because I chose to dwell with you, not simply reign above you. I came close. I stepped into time, into flesh, into pain, so I could walk beside you through every chapter. I've written myself into your story not as a character in the background, but as the one who has been fighting for you since the beginning. I've been guiding your path even when you thought you were lost. You've asked, God, are you even here? And I respond now. Not only am I here, I've never left. I've been involved at every high and every low, every plan and every pivot, every joy and every lot. Even the parts of your life you thought were meaningless, I've been using those, too. Nothing is wasted. Not 1 second of your pain, not one breath of your prayers, not one moment of your struggle has slipped past my hands. I'm involved in ways deeper than you can comprehend. And I'm not stepping away now. In fact, I'm drawing even closer. Because what comes next will require you to walk with an awareness that I am not a background presence, I am your ever-present help, your foundation, your source, your shield, your guide. You don't have to beg for my involvement. You simply have to remember that it's already been yours all along. There were days you whispered into the darkness, hoping anyone would notice the heaviness you were carrying. You questioned why I seemed distant when your world felt like it was collapsing. You thought my silence meant absence, that my quiet meant disinterest. But my beloved, that could not be further from the truth. I was never on the other side of your pain watching from afar. I was shoulder to shoulder with you in every step you took through the valley. You couldn't always sense me, but I never stopped surrounding you. Your perception failed to register my nearness, but I never took a single step back. The sense of isolation wasn't my withdrawal, it was the pressure of a season that required silence to shape something deeper in you. I wasn't hiding. I was holding space for your emotions, holding back what would have broken you, holding tightly to your soul when you felt like letting go. And every time you said, I can't do this anymore, I whispered, I'm still here. Even when you turned your face from me, I never turned mine from you. My footsteps walked beside yours when you were too numb to speak, too tired to cry, too worn to believe. And in the moments you said, no one understands me, I was the one who completely did. I knew the questions you couldn't form. I knew the ache behind the silence. I knew the weight of the disappointment you couldn't explain. I walked through it with you not just as a witness but as a savior who felt every piece of it. I absorbed your loneliness. I stood in the gap when your faith faded. I whispered hope into your spirit while you lay motionless in your grief. You thought the emptiness meant I was gone, but I was present in ways the human heart can't always perceive. Sometimes I allow stillness not to hurt you, but to remove the noise that drowns out my voice. Sometimes I seem quiet because I'm closer than you think, so close that I don't need to shout. So close that my breath is in your lungs. So close that I catch every tear before it falls. I've been walking beside you in the rain and the drought, in the silence and the storm. I've walked behind you to cover your back when you didn't know who to trust. I've walked ahead of you to make crooked paths straight. And I've walked beside you when you were convinced no one cared enough to stay. I never stopped caring. I never grew tired of you. I never second-guessed my decision to stay with you. You are my child. And a loving father does not abandon his own. I was there in the hospital. I was there at the gravesite. I was there when the text didn't come, the job didn't work out, the dream slipped away. I was there when you smiled through the pain just to survive the moment. You wondered where I had gone, but child, I never left. If you could only see what I see, you would know how many times I lifted you when you didn't even realize you were falling. You would see how many times I redirected what could have destroyed you. You would understand how my presence has been the thread holding your life together when everything else felt torn. I've walked with you through every hidden heartbreak, every quiet victory, every internal battle. And I'm not going anywhere. You're not walking alone, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. My footsteps are beside yours still, and they always will be. Everything is shifting not just around you, but within you, because I am entering your present in a way you've not yet experienced. You've known me as the one who sustained you, the one who stood silently by when life was loud with trouble. But now, I'm not just watching, whispering, or waiting in the stillness. I'm stepping into your world with unmistakable presence. You will feel me in your decisions. You will notice me in your surroundings. I'm coming closer, not in theory, not in mystery, but in manifestation. You're about to know my nearness, not as a hope, but as a certainty. This is not a subtle breeze, it is a holy arrival. You will walk into rooms that feel different because I got there before you. You will encounter moments so perfectly timed, so intimately orchestrated, that you'll no longer wonder whether I'm involved. I am placing my hand upon your daily life, not just your prayers and worship, but the routines, the errands, the ordinary. I am stepping into your now, not just into your crisis, not just into your breakthroughs, but into the space where you thought you had to figure it all out alone. I am integrating my peace into your atmosphere, my wisdom into your thoughts, my strength into your weariness. And no, you don't have to do anything extraordinary to earn this. I'm not showing up because of your performance. I'm showing up because I love you too much to let you walk the next part of your journey unsure of where I am. I want you to recognize my fingerprints on the pages of your everyday life. The coincidence you're about to encounter is really my divine choreography. The idea that drops into your mind like lightning, that's me speaking. The calm that suddenly interrupts your anxiety, that's me arriving. The solution that surprises you after waiting for so long, that's not luck. It's me stepping in. I am making myself obvious to you, not because I need to prove myself, but because I want your heart to be settled. I want you to stop guessing. Stop questioning whether I'm nearby. You won't have to search for signs anymore. You'll see me in motion. I'm saturating your space with clarity and comfort. You'll feel me in the way your shoulders suddenly relax, in the way your thoughts settle after days of unrest. I'm coming into the chaos, not to judge it, but to bring order. I'm entering your questions, not just to answer them, but to reveal myself within them. I want to walk with you not just spiritually, but practically. That means I'll be there in your conversations, helping you choose words that bring peace. I'll be in your workplace, guiding your steps so favor surrounds you. I'll be in your private thoughts, whispering truth before the lies take root. This isn't distance anymore. This is divine immersion. And as I move closer, things will begin to change. Not by force, but by alignment. You'll feel things shift. Relationships that once confused you will either fall away or transform. Habits that once held you back will begin to lose their grip. Desires you thought were long gone will return, but purified, redirected, filled with purpose. This isn't a visitation, it's an indwelling. I'm not coming to touch your life and retreat. I'm coming to dwell with you, to build something lasting, something sacred, and something unshakable. I want to live in your yes. I want to be present in your pauses. I want to make your life my home, not just a place I visit when you feel spiritual. This is the start of something new, child. And as I step in, everything else must align. What once felt out of sync will begin to find rhythm. Because where I dwell, disorder cannot remain. Where I reign, confusion must bow. Where I speak, truth sets everything in motion. So open the door wide. I'm not knocking to be acknowledged, I'm entering to transform. Every word you've released into the heavens, whether whispered in weakness, spoken in desperation, or cried from the deepest place of your soul, has carried weight far beyond what you could see. You may not have realized it, but your prayers have disrupted darkness. They have created tremors in places you've never seen with your eyes. What felt like simple cries for help were, in fact, declarations that echoed into the unseen realm, shaking foundations that once stood against you. The spiritual atmosphere has been responding, not gradually, not weakly, but immediately. There is warfare you never saw with your physical eyes that has been happening because of the faith you dared to exercise when all odds said to give up. You thought your prayers were small, ineffective, perhaps even unheard, but I'm here to tell you they were none of those things. They were thunder in the spirit. They were arrows against deception. They were the sound of surrender that split through resistance and invited my authority to invade impossible places. You've been praying in a time of pressure, thinking little had changed. But what you didn't know is that your persistence has been breaking through barriers generations deep. Chains that held your family line are now weakening. Strongholds that once stood untouched are cracking open. The enemy hoped you'd remain silent. He hoped disappointment would muzzle your prayers. He hoped distraction would dilute your hunger. But you kept praying even when it hurt, even when you had no words, even when all you could say was Jesus. And that name, my name, didn't return void. It pierced through layers of confusion and despair. It released power that's no turning tides you thought were permanent. You're not just surviving, you've been sowing in the spirit. And the ground is beginning to respond. What you're about to witness in the physical will be a result of what already shifted in the unseen. Doors will open with little effort, not because you finally became worthy, but because the weight of your intercession unlocked them before you even arrived. Hearts that were hardened will begin to soften, not because you argued or proved yourself, but because your prayers invited me to intervene. The enemy knows what you're just now realizing. Your prayers have been working. That's why the opposition has felt heavier. That's why your mind hath been under attack, your confidence shaken, your clarity clouded. Because hell is terrified of a praying child who doesn't give up when the answer takes time. But you didn't stop. You may have paused. You may have cried. You may have even doubted. But you didn't walk away. You stayed. And I have honored that. I have moved in places you didn't even know needed my touch. I've answered prayers you forgot you prayed. And I am still working on the ones you're waiting for. Don't judge my hand by what you haven't seen yet. Some victories are still unfolding, but they are already set in motion. There is angelic activity surrounding your life. Your assignments being released on your behalf. The atmosphere around you is shifting. You are not stuck, you are standing in a spiritual moment where the earth is catching up to what heaven already declared. Keep praying, not because you must beg me, but because your prayers keep you in alignment with what I've already purposed. Prayer isn't just a cry for help, it's a release of authority. And you, my child, have been walking in greater spiritual authority than you know. Watch how things begin to accelerate. Watch how suddenly things shift. It won't be because of your strategy, it will be because of the seeds you planted on your knees. You've moved the heavens. and now the earth must respond. You've walked through days that felt like years, watched the calendar turn without a sign, and waited in faith for promises that seem permanently postponed. I know how long you've held on without answers. I know how many times you tried to quiet the question in your heart, when? I've watched you stay when others left. I've seen you serve while wondering if anything was moving. But now hear me clearly, what appeared to be delayed was not forgotten. It was preserved. And by my authority, what once lingered in waiting is now being propelled into your present. I am speaking a command over what seemed stuck, and when I speak, nothing can resist. What held you back yesterday must release you today, not because of your striving, but because of my sovereign word. Acceleration is being activated not because time ran out, but because purpose is calling. Every moment you thought was wasted is now turning into momentum. The pace is shifting. What once took years will now unfold in weeks. What you thought would be a slow rebuild will spring up suddenly, strong and whole. I am redeeming the time that life tried to steal from you. The losses, the delays, the missed opportunities, they will not define you. I'm not just restoring what was taken. I'm launching you beyond where you would have been if nothing had ever been lost. My acceleration doesn't just catch you up, it catapults you ahead. The blessings that were held back are now being released in rapid succession. The people you were meant to meet are coming into alignment. The open doors you've prayed for are being positioned in your path, not randomly, but precisely. Everything is being divinely timed, not late, not early, but suddenly. You're about to experience what it feels like when heaven overrides hesitation. I'm giving you divine speed, not rushed, not reckless, but purposeful propulsion into the place I've prepared for you. And no, this acceleration will not overwhelm you. It won't deplete you. It will energize you. Because I'm not just moving things around you, I'm expanding the capacity inside you. Your wisdom is deeper now. Your discernment is sharper. Your strength has been forged in silence. You're ready not because everything is perfect, but because I've made you prepared. You see, the delay wasn't a punishment. It was preparation in disguise. Had I allowed things to move when you first asked, you wouldn't have had the foundation to carry what's now coming. The waiting didn't mean I changed my mind, it meant I was strengthening yours. The process developed a stability in you that acceleration needs. Because when things move fast, the roots must run deep. And yours do. They run deep in faith, deep in trust, deep in resilience. That's why I can now release what had to wait. I'm not doing it to oppress anyone. I'm doing it because the season has shifted. What was once paused is now prioritized in the courts of heaven. This next stretch of your journey will feel different. Things will come together faster. Insights will arrive clear. Solutions will emerge quicker. Don't resist it. Don't second-guess the speed. Just because it took a long time to arrive doesn't mean it has to take a long time to build. I'm doing in months what you thought would take years. I'm healing what you thought would always ache. I'm releasing opportunities that will make up for seasons of delay. I am placing acceleration in your life that is not natural, it's supernatural. And it's being commanded by me, not manipulated by man. So prepare your heart. Position your posture. Stay grounded in humility, but rise in expectation. The things that felt stuck are responding to my voice. And when I say move, nothing stays the same. You are about to step into a flow where everything that lingered too long suddenly finds its place. Not because time caught up, but because I said, now. There are dreams you quietly buried. Hopes you released with trembling hands, believing they had expired. Promises that felt distant for so long you stopped speaking about them. You convinced yourself that maybe it was too late, maybe it just wasn't meant to be, maybe you missed your moment. But today I want you to know, what you let die I am reviving. What seemed finished is not forgotten. What you mourned as lost is being stirred again, not from your own willpower, but by my spirit. This is not the end of the story you feared it was. I am breathing life into what looked dead. And when I restore something, it doesn't return to its former state, it returns better, stronger, infused with purpose that couldn't have existed without the season of silence. You've been walking past the remnants of what once brought you joy, unable to even look in its direction because the disappointment felt too heavy. But now, I'm calling you back not to relive the pain, but to witness the resurrection. You gave up not because you lacked faith, but because hope felt like a risk you could no longer afford. But I'm telling you now, you don't have to revive it yourself. You don't have to pretend or manufacture belief. I'm doing the breathing. I am the one calling it back. You just need to make room for what's coming alive again. It might feel unfamiliar at first. The emotions will rise. The memories will stir. You may even fear being disappointed again. But I'm not reviving this for your heartbreak. I'm reviving it for my glory. You thought the chapter was closed, but I held the pen all along. And what I'm writing now will make sense of why it had to pause in the first place. Sometimes I allow a dream to sleep so that when it wakes, it carries more power than it ever could have in its original form. You've grown in the waiting. You've deepened in your dependency on me. And now, you're ready to carry what once overwhelmed you. This restoration won't be rushed. It will be intentional. You'll notice subtle signs at first, a thought you didn't expect to return, a conversation that reopens something you had shelved, a door that begins to creak open where you only saw walls. It will be gentle but undeniable. Because when I resurrect, I don't do it for temporary comfort, I do it for eternal impact. I don't bring things back to life to revisit the past. I bring them back so they can serve a greater purpose in your future. I want you to dream again, not cautiously, but boldly. I want you to believe again, not because you feel emotionally strong, but because you trust the one who holds your future. I want you to partner with me in faith, not just for new things, but for renewed things. There are parts of your purpose that have been on pause, not out of punishment, but because the timing had to be right. The people involved needed alignment. The environment needed preparation. And you needed refinement. But now the hour has come. Don't be surprised when the doors you thought were sealed forever begin to open again. Don't be afraid when the things you forgot how to desire begin rising in your heart. I placed those desires in you for a reason, and though they've been dormant, they've never been deleted. This is a divine reawakening. What once made you feel alive is returning, but this time, it will come with peace instead of pressure, with clarity instead of confusion, with joy instead of striving. Because now, it's not coming from your effort. It's coming from my hand. So open your heart again. Loosen your grip on the grave you called closure. The stone is rolling away. The breath is entering. The vision is returning. And what you thought was over is about to rise. I know how often you've looked back and wondered if you've fallen behind. You've questioned whether the years that passed without progress were wasted. You've compared your pace to others and felt like you missed something crucial along the way. But let me speak clearly into that place of regret. Not a moment hath been lost. Not a single step, season, where silence was without purpose. You weren't forgotten, you were being formed. While you were measuring outcomes, I was establishing foundation. While you were asking for motion, I was creating maturity. You haven't been delayed. You've been developed. And everything that felt like a pause has actually been a divine investment. You thought the waiting was inactivity. But I was actively fortifying your heart, stretching your endurance, and refining your discernment. You needed time not to catch up to a deadline, but to grow into the depth that your destiny requires. Because what's ahead won't just demand action, it will require wisdom, character, and resilience. And that's what I've been building when it seemed like nothing was happening. Others may have moved faster, but you will move further. Because fast doesn't always mean faithful. I've been shaping you through pressure that no one else could see. The hidden work I've done inside you will soon become the strength others see on the outside. You have not missed your moment. I hold time in my hands, and when I choose to release something, nothing can hinder it. Your timeline is not defined by culture, age, or circumstance. It's defined by my purpose. And I've never been in a hurry, I've always been right on time. You see, when I prepare someone, I do it thoroughly. I'm not interested in temporary elevation, I'm interested in enduring impact. And for that kind of legacy, I had to take you deeper before I could take you further. Think about how much you've learned in the silence. Think about the strength you gain in the struggle. Think about the compassion you've cultivated in the absence of applause. Those are not things you can rush. Those are eternal ingredients for life that carries my power without collapsing under pressure. Others may not understand the layers of what you've walked through, but I do. I was there when you felt like time was slipping through your hands. I was there when you mourned seasons that didn't unfold the way you dreamed. I never mocked your questions. I held them. I never dismissed your fear of falling behind. I answered it with my presence. The truth is, you've been right on schedule, my schedule. And now, what I've prepared you for is beginning to align. You'll notice things coming together more quickly, not because you're forcing it, but because you're ready. Not just externally, but internally. The doors you're about to walk through would have overwhelmed the version of you from before. But now, you can handle them not with pride, but with peace. Because you will know this didn't happen overnight. This didn't happen by luck. This happened because you stayed. You surrendered. You trusted when you didn't understand. And now the fruit is ripening. So stop apologizing for your process. Stop feeling ashamed for taking a different path. Stop carrying the weight of timelines that were never mine. You're not behind, you're positioned. And where I'm about to take you will redeem every moment you thought was meaningless. You'll look back and see that I wasn't holding you back, I was holding you together. I wasn't delaying you, I was making sure what you build next will last. The preparation wasn't punishment. It was preservation. And now that the foundation is secure, I can start building publicly what I've been perfecting privately. Time has not been your enemy. It's been your teacher. And I, your redeemer, and turning the preparation into fulfillment starting now. What felt like failure wasn't the end of your purpose, it was the birthplace of it. I know there were moments when everything collapsed around you, and you believed it was evidence that you had somehow taken the wrong path. You saw the closed doors, the betrayals, the disappointments, and you assumed they were signs that you had fallen out of alignment with my will. But child, what if I told you those very moments were part of the preparation? What if I told you the places where you lost traction were actually divinely chosen stages where your character was strengthened? You thought you were being buried, but I was planting you. You thought you were being punished, but I was positioning you. And detour, that delay, that painful disappointment, none of it was wasted. All of it was essential. The wounds taught you compassion. The silence taught you discernment. The loss taught you what truly matters. You would have never discovered the depth of your own resilience without walking through situations that tried to crush you. You don't realize it yet, but those seasons you tried to survive were the very same places I began activating the anointing that now rests upon your life. What you saw as random hardship was actually me setting the stage behind the curtain. I allowed certain doors to close to reroute you toward doors you didn't know existed. I removed certain people not because you weren't good enough, but because your calling was too sacred for contamination. The environments you once tried to force yourself to belong in were never meant to contain your destiny. And now, the things that once made you feel small are becoming the foundation of your authority. The very same setbacks that embarrassed you, delayed you, and made you question your worth, those are the things I'm now using to speak through you. I never waste pain. I never ignore the weight of what you carried. And I never allow suffering to pass through your life without attaching glory to it on the other side. You see, the reason your calling is so powerful is because it's rooted in the soil of survival. You didn't inherit this from a stage or spotlight, you earned it through tears, through broken prayers, through showing up when nothing made sense. And now, I'm turning your history into testimony. I'm turning what tried to destroy you into a weapon for healing others. The beauty of your calling is that it didn't come easy. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it unshakable. And that's why I trust you with influence, because you remember what it felt like to be the one overlooked. I've built your voice in the places no one else could hear. I formed your strength in the quiet trenches of your darkest days. And now, I'm lifting you not to glorify your name, but to magnify my grace in your life. You will lead with empathy because you know what it's like to be cried. You will minister with gentleness because you've known sorrow. You will walk with confidence not because life was easy, but because you discovered I was with you even when everything fell apart. So stop seeing those seasons as losses. Your lessons have birthed purpose. Stop wishing they had never happened. Without them, you wouldn't carry the wisdom, the depth, the discernment that you now hold. You're not disqualified because of the mess. You're equipped because of it. Your story is not too damaged, it's exactly what makes your calling effective. And I will use every piece of it, not just the parts you're proud of, but especially the parts you tried to hide. This is not just about recovery, it's about redemption. I'm redeeming every setback and turning it into strategy. I'm repurposing your scars as symbols of victory. You didn't fall off track, you were being prepared in places no one could see. And now, the very path that seemed broken is becoming the highway to your purpose. I know you've looked around and questioned your pace. You've seen others move ahead, launching dreams, receiving recognition, stepping into seasons that looked like everything you've prayed for. You've wondered if you missed something along the way, if maybe you misunderstood what I told you, or worse, if I forgot about you. But I need you to hear me clearly now. You are not late. You are exactly where I want you to be. Not because you did everything perfectly, but because my timing never relies on your perfection. You may feel like life is passing you by, but I assure you, I have not lost track of you for a single moment. The calendar you're watching doesn't determine your calling, I do. What looks like delay to the world is divine timing in my hands. I haven't withheld anything from you out of punishment. I've protected your path so that when the moment comes, you'll be ready not just to receive the promise, but to carry it with integrity, with wisdom, and with peace. I have never measured your worth by your milestones. I've measured your readiness by your trust. And child, I've seen how deeply you've trusted me even when things didn't make sense. Even when the breakthrough did come. Even when your timeline shattered. You stayed close. You kept listening. You kept showing up in faith. That matters more to me than anything time could measure. You're not falling behind, you're walking in alignment. I've been weaving things together in a sequence so intricate, so purposeful, that if I had released what you prayed for even a moment earlier, it would have collapsed under the weight of immaturity or misplaced confidence. But now, your heart is steady. Your motives are pure. Your identity is no longer wrapped in outcome, it's rooted in me. And because of that, you're about to move into a season that will look accelerated to others, but to you, it will feel like finally stepping into what was always meant to be. Do not despise the pace I've chosen for you. I'm not just preparing places for you, I'm preparing you for those places. You've been through seasons that refined you, humbled you, stripped away illusions and false identities. That was not wasted time, it was sacred ground. While others were building visibility, you were developing vision. While some pursued speed, you embraced surrender. And now, that surrender is being honored with strategy from heaven. You will step into moments that carry weight beyond their size. Conversations will open doors. Small decisions will lead to supernatural outcomes. You won't need to hustle, my favor will meet you before you arrive. Stop letting comparison rob you of peace. You are not running their race. You were never meant to. I wrote your timeline with eternal hands. I penned your story with wisdom that sees what's ahead before you take your next step. What you're about to walk into will prove that I have not overlooked you for a single second. I have been orchestrating behind the scenes, lining connections, clearing obstacles, and arranging divine intersections. You will see them unfold not as random blessings, but as confirmation that I was always with you, always guiding, always guarding. So let go of the lie that says you're too late, too far behind, too old, too inexperienced. Those are the voices of fear, not of faith. And you belong to me, not to fear. You are not walking behind schedule, you are walking in perfect rhythm with heaven. I do not rush, and I do not delay. And I have not started something in you just to leave it unfinished. My timing is not based on pressure, it's rooted in purpose. And I promise you, the purpose over your life is unfolding exactly when and how it was always meant to. There were moments when your words felt like they vanished into the air, unheard, unvalued, unwelcome. You've experienced times when expressing what was in your heart was met with resistance, rejection, or ridicule. There were even seasons where you stopped speaking altogether, not because you had nothing to say, but because pain had wrapped itself around your voice like chains. The enemy targeted your expression, not by accident, but with strategy, because he feared what would happen if you realized the weight your voice carries in the spirit. He didn't need to steal your platform. He only needed you to question whether your words mattered. But I am telling you today, they do. In fact, your voice has been marked with power since the day you were formed in the womb. You weren't given your voice to echo the noise of this world, you were given it to release the sound of heaven. Every time you speak truth, the atmosphere shifts. Every time you pray, darkness trembles. Every time you declare what I've placed inside of you, lies lose their grip. The enemy saw that, and that's why he worked so hard to silence you. Not through obvious attacks, but through subtle discouragement. Through moments where you felt dismissed. Through times where what you said was twisted, misunderstood, or ignored. He tried to convince you that being quiet was safer. That being unseen meant being secure. That holding back was wise. But all of that was designed to contain the authority I planted in your words. And yet, you're still speaking. Even after the battles. Even after the betrayal. Even after the internal war between staying quiet or standing firm. And I need you to know that is proof of victory. Your voice still carries weight. In fact, it's stronger now. Not because you raised it louder, but because you learn when to speak with love, with purpose, with precision. You've been through enough to know the difference between noise and truth. And now, your words carry my breath. You don't speak from insecurity anymore, you speak from intimacy. You don't echo fear, you declare freedom. And when you do, the kingdom of darkness takes notice. You don't need a stage to have authority. You don't need a title to carry power. You need only to remember who sent you, and child, I did. I placed my fire in your mouth, not to entertain, but to uproot lies and release healing. You may not see the ripple effect, but heaven sees it. When you encourage the weary, it changes trajectories. When you bless someone instead of breaking them down, chains fall off. When you speak life into your own soul instead of rehearsing defeat, walls begin to crumble. This is why you must never underestimate your words again. You are my messenger, my echo, my vessel. So speak boldly, gently, wisely, but never silently again. Use your voice not to defend your worth, but to declare mine. Speak hope where despair has lingered. Speak peace in the middle of the storm. Speak truth when lies have tried to shape your identity. And watch how I move through your mouth. You will begin to notice it more, how rooms shift when you walk in, how people pause when you begin to speak, how hearts open simply because of your tone. It's not just you, that's me and you. That's not just communication, that's kingdom in motion. Your voice is not fragile, it's a force. Not because of volume, but because of source. And that source is me. I gave it to you. I protected it when the enemy tried to destroy it. I preserved it when sorrow tried to silence it. And now I am anointing it for a greater purpose. Speak, a child. Not just to be heard, but to be used. Because when you speak in alignment with my spirit, you do not speak alone. You speak with heaven behind you. The path behind you was heavy, filled with detours, delays, and days where you question whether you would ever feel free again. You've grown familiar with surviving, making it through the storm, enduring the weight, adjusting to disappointment. You learned to function while carrying pain, to smile through uncertainty, to continue walking even when your feet ached with spiritual fatigue. But I need you to take this in deeply now. That chapter is closing. What's ahead of you does not carry the same burdens as what's behind you. You are not repeating cycles. You are stepping into something new, completely new. This next stretch of your journey will not be defined by striving but by rest. Not by confusion but by clarity. Not by resistance but by release. The wilderness has done its work. You've learned how to trust me without knowing the outcome. You've discovered how to lean on me instead of on your understanding. The darkness taught you how to recognize my whisper, and the silence trained you to sense my presence without seeing results. You may have felt like you were stuck, but in truth, I was maturing you. And now that growth has positioned you to walk differently. The struggle was seasonal, it was never meant to be your identity. I didn't call you to be a permanent resident of suffering. That part of the process refined you, but it is not meant to remain your reality. What's coming will feel strange at first. You've been conditioned by pain, but now I'm ushering you into peace. You become accustomed to disappointment, but I'm introducing consistent breakthrough. You're about to experience what it means to move without fear of the floor collapsing underneath you. This will be a season of rebuilding on solid ground. I'm reestablishing your footing. I'm renewing your strength. You won't have to guess where you stand with me anymore. The uncertainty you carried like a second skin is being stripped away, and in its place, I'm clothing you with confidence not in yourself, but in who I am to you. And no, this isn't wishful thinking. It's a divine decree. I am declaring a shift over your life. You're moving from battles into blueprints, from surviving into stewarding, from merely holding on into finally holding what I promised. You won't have to force what I've already prepared. Things that once felt out of reach will now come into alignment with less strain and more grace. It's not because life suddenly got easier, it's because your posture has changed. You know how to listen now. You recognize me more clearly. You stopped chasing after quick answers and started valuing the slow, sacred unfolding of my will. Let me be clear, not everything will be perfect, but everything will be purposeful. I'm not promising that trials will never come, but the way you navigate them will look entirely different. Why? Because you'll carry revelation. Because you will move from a place of stability, not insecurity. Because you will respond to challenges with wisdom gained through fire. The enemy had his chance to break you, but he underestimated your endurance. And more importantly, he underestimated your God. I want you to begin expecting goodness again. Not in arrogance, but in anticipation. You are not being set up for disappointment, you are being invited into fulfillment. Joy will return to places that forgot how to feel. Creativity will spring up where stagnation once lived. Laughter will echo in rooms that have known too much mourning. This isn't fantasy, this is restoration. And I am the one authoring every word of it. So, lift your eyes. The season you're entering doesn't carry the same atmosphere as the one you've exited. Let the past do its work, but don't let it write your future. You've been through enough to know how fragile things can be, but now, I want you to discover how beautiful life becomes when it's carried by me. You're not walking into a repeat. You're walking into redemption. There were moments when it all seemed to fall apart, relationships you trusted, plans you built carefully, dreams you nurtured in faith. They shattered. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes slowly, and you were left standing in the middle of pieces too sharp to hold and too sacred to throw away. You tried to salvage what you could. You prayed over the ruins. You wept over the walls that once protected your joy. I saw all of it, and I never turned my face away from the devastation. But what you thought was permanent damage, I always saw as a foundation for something new. I never left you in the wreckage, I began designing something greater the moment the first piece crumbled. I understand that brokenness left you hesitant. It left you questioning your worth, your decisions, even your ability to rebuild. But child, you were never meant to do the rebuilding alone. What you thought was the end was actually the clearing of space. The structures that fell were not wasted, they revealed what couldn't support your future. And now, I am rebuilding not a copy of what once was, but a creation that carries greater depth, more endurance, and divine beauty that only comes from being remade by my hands. I'm not patching holes. I'm reconstructing from the ground up, and every layer will carry purpose. You've grown since it all fell apart. You've learned what matters and what doesn't. You stopped looking for validation in places that were never meant to define you. Your roots have gone deeper, not into fear, but into faith. You've surrendered what you can't control. And now, in this holy surrender, I'm crafting something unshakable. This rebuild is not about returning to how things used to be, it's about stepping into how things were always meant to be before pain distorted the picture. I want you to see that the dust you've been standing in is sacred. It may not look like much now, but soon it will echo with the sound of resurrection. You will witness progress not in sudden leaps, but in steady revelation. I am rebuilding with vision. I'm establishing peace where chaos used to reign. I'm framing joy where sorrow tried to make its home. And as I lay each new brick, I'm inviting you to trust again, not blindly, but boldly. You don't have to fear another collapse. What I build cannot be destroyed by storms or shaken by opinions. It is grounded in truth, secured by promise, sealed by my name. The world may look at what was lost and call it failure, but I call it preparation. They may see brokenness, I see breakthrough, because I'm not finished. Not with the structure, not with the story, and certainly not with you. Your scars will not limit the new. They will only deepen the strength of what's coming. What you lost did not break you, it builds something invisible, something internal, something eternal. And now it's time for the outer to reflect what I've been forming within. So, open your heart again. Pick up hope like a tool in your hand. Let me show you how redemption looks in motion. What I construct will carry weight in heaven and legacy on earth. People will walk through what I rebuild in you and find safety, inspiration, and healing. You will become a refuge, not just because of what you endured, but because of how you allowed me to restore you. This is not the end of your story. This is the reinvention of it. I'm not asking you to pretend it never broke. I'm asking you to believe I can make it better. I will not leave you in ruins. I will raise you in strength. The process has begun. The foundation is set. And brick by brick, I am building beauty where the enemy once tried to leave you buried. There were times when you looked at your life and asked, how did I end up here? You had a picture in your mind of how things were supposed to unfold, and when reality began to veer off course, it felt like failure. It felt like you missed something vital or made a wrong turn that cost you time, energy, and peace. You tried to retrace your steps, wondering if you should have taken a different road, if you had been more obedient, more attentive, more faithful. But I want you to know now you weren't off course. You were in the middle of my reroute. What appeared to you with an unexpected turn was, in fact, a calculated move by my hand. You see, I allowed the scenery to change because where you were headed wasn't sufficient for where I was taking you. The road you planned was too narrow for the weight of the purpose I've placed upon your life. Some paths would have led to dead ends or to people and places that couldn't carry the vision I've written on your soul. I had to redirect you not as a punishment, but as protection. And in that redirection, I began guiding you through territory that would awaken parts of you that would have stayed asleep on your original path. Yes, it felt confusing at first. It stretched you, stripped away your expectations, and forced you to release control. But it also deepened your dependence on me. It taught you to listen in unfamiliar surroundings. It forced you to trust me when your eyes saw nothing familiar. That wasn't a mistake, it was a miracle in disguise. Because now you hear my voice more clearly. You don't rely on circumstances, you rely on presence. That's what the redirection was always meant to do. Refocus your vision on me. And while you were adjusting, I was aligning. Aligning people, places, opportunities, and insights that will now meet you on this path you didn't expect. This road you once resisted will become the very route that leads to doors you didn't even know you were born to walk through. I've been working behind the scenes repositioning pieces, shifting timelines, protecting your steps, because I know the entire landscape. I see what's around every corner, and though your view is limited, my guidance has never wavered. You're not lost, you're being led by wisdom far greater than you can comprehend. Don't despise where you are just because it's different than where you thought you'd be. This place, this exact moment, is sacred. You are standing on ground that is preparing you for destiny, even if it looks unfamiliar. Trust the path, even when it feels like wilderness. I'm not just getting you somewhere, I'm forming someone in you along the way. You're becoming more than you planned, because you followed a route designed not by your comfort, but by my calling. And soon, you'll look back at this road, the one you almost resented, and you'll thank me. You'll see how I used what felt like chaos to align your calling with precision. You'll see how every shift that confused you was a setup for encounters that could only happen here. You'll realize you didn't wander, you were wisely rerouted. And you'll understand that I wasn't just taking you to a destination, I was walking with you into transformation. To breathe deeply. Let go of the guilt of where you thought you should be. Embrace where I have you now. Because this journey isn't off track, it's on divine assignment. And where it ends will be greater than anything you could have imagined if your plans had gone untouched. You've been redirected, not because I changed my mind, but because I never changed my purpose. You've spent too much time looking backward, analyzing your missteps, replaying conversations, and carrying guilt that was never yours to keep. Regret has whispered to you in the quiet moments, making you question if you've gone too far, lost too much, or missed your one opportunity. But today I want you to hear me clearly. It is time to stop punishing yourself for what I've already forgiven. You don't have to keep carrying the weight of what's behind you. You don't have to rehearse the same scenes over and over, trying to fix what's already been covered by grace. I am not standing in your past, I am standing in your future. And I'm inviting you to walk with me toward what still can be. Your story is not defined by what went wrong. I do not label you by your lowest moment or measure you by your biggest mistake. I see your whole journey through the lens of redemption. I see not only what was, but what still will be. And I am not limited by what you've lost. I am not restrained by what you didn't get right. I am the God who restores time, renews purpose, and resurrects potential. I am the author who never runs out of ink. And I'm not editing your story, I'm rewriting it. You thought the chapters behind you had ruined the ending, but they were just part of the setup for a greater unfolding. What others might have discarded, I redeem. What you considered wasted, I call woven. I have a way of turning ruins into revelation. I take broken pieces and design beauty the world cannot explain. The mistakes you wish you could erase, I'm using them to deepen your compassion, to sharpen your vision, and to prepare you for what's ahead. The delays you mourned, I'm turning them into divine intersections you couldn't have planned if you tried. There is more written for you, more than what you've imagined, more than what you thought was still possible. I haven't stopped dreaming over your life. I haven't paused the plans I've had for you since the beginning. But for you to receive what's coming, you must loosen your grip on what's already gone. Regret is a thief. It robs your focus, drains your energy, and keeps you anchored in a version of yourself I've already set free. You're not who you were, and you're not where you will stay. I'm taking you forward, not cragging you, but drawing you, inviting you into a space where peace replaces punishment and vision replaces shame. You don't have to understand how it will all come together. You just need to trust that I'm the one weaving it. I don't need your record to be spotless, I need your heart to be surrendered. I don't require perfection, I delight in your willingness. And I'm not asking you to fix what's already behind. I'm asking you to follow me into what's ahead. So stop measuring your future by your failures. Stop believing that your best moments are behind you. I'm preparing a future that will make you forget the sorrow of yesterday, not by erasing it, but by overwhelming it with beauty. You will see it. You will live it. But it begins when you release the grip of regret and place your story in my hands again. You've wept enough over what didn't go right. Now it's time to build something new together. I'm not just promising restoration, I'm declaring recreation. New paths, new doors, new joy, new understanding. And you don't have to earn it, you only have to receive it. Your future has not been stolen, it's being written. And this time, grace is holding the pen. You've cried out for healing, and I have heard you. You've prayed for the pain to stop, for the memories to quiet, for the weight of what broke you to lift. And in many ways, healing has already begun. But what I want to give you now goes beyond recovery. I'm not just here to mend what was torn, I'm here to complete what's been missing. Healing is the beginning, but wholeness is the promise. And I'm leading you into a season where you no longer feel fragmented, no longer survive with half-closed wounds, no longer just get by emotionally or spiritually. I am making you whole, not patched, not merely functional, but completely restored from the inside out. You see, healing fixes what hurts, but wholeness redefines who you are. It goes beneath the surface and rearranges how you see yourself, how you show up, how you carry your identity. I'm not interested in a temporary relief of your pain, I'm interested in rewiring the way you've learned to live with brokenness. Because you were never meant to carry damage as your identity. You were never designed to walk with a limp in your spirit and call it survival. You've done well to keep moving, but now it's time to be made new, not just better. Wholeness doesn't deny that pain happened, it rises from it. It doesn't erase your past, but it removes the sting. It gives you the ability to look at what once crushed you and say, it no longer owns me. That's what I'm offering. Not just freedom from the wound, but strength born from it. Not just deliverance from the trauma, but a transformation that leaves no trace of the lie that you were somehow less because of it. You are not broken goods. You are not incomplete. And you will not always live under the shadow of what tried to destroy you. What happened to you will not define what happens next. There are places in your heart you sealed off, rooms you locked because the pain was too great, the memories too sharp, the loss too unbearable. But I'm gently unlocking those doors. Not to harm you, but to heal you completely. I'm not afraid of what's in those rooms. I already know what's there. And my love is not overwhelmed by it, it's ready to fill every hollow space with peace, every empty corner with joy, every cracked foundation with solid truth. I'm coming for every hidden part. The parts you thought you had to live without. The joy you buried. The trust you forfeited. The hope you silenced. I'm calling it all back. Because wholeness means nothing missing, nothing fractured, nothing left behind. You don't have to hide the parts of yourself that still ache. Bring them to me. I don't condemn your wounds, I redeem them. I don't shame your struggles, I shine my light through them. And when I make something whole, it becomes stronger than it ever was before. This is the season where you stop coping and start conquering. You're not just a survivor, you're a testimony of total restoration. And people will see the difference. They'll ask how the light returned to your eyes, how the smile grew honest again, how the fear disappeared. And your answer will be simple. Jesus made me whole. Not just better, not just functioning. Oh, Kablia, Ajagan, and peace. To come to me, completely. Not just the parts you think are presentable. Bring the pieces. Bring the parts that still flinch. Bring the questions, the memories, the fears. I want them all. And I promise, if you let me finish what I started, you'll step into a life that no longer bleeds from old wounds, but radiates with the glory of full, undeniable wholeness. You've stared at entire seasons of your life wondering what happened. You've looked back on years that seemed to have vanished, swallowed by hardship, disappointment, betrayal, and pain. There were dreams you had to shelve, opportunities that slipped through your fingers, moments that were never what you hoped they'd be. And somewhere along the way, you started to believe the time was just gone, irretrievable, raced, out of reach. But I want you to know something that will shift the way you see it all. I do not waste time, and I do not leave what's mine in ruin. The years you grieved over, the chapters that ended too soon, The time that felt lost in confusion or crisis, I'm redeeming every second of it. I am not bound by clocks or calendars. While the world measures by minutes, I restore by meaning. I specialize in turning what felt like delays into displays of divine goodness. The time you thought was empty was actually preparing you for fulfillment beyond your imagination. I saw your silent battles. I watched as you gave your all to things that fell apart. I was present when your strength was depleted and your heart whispered, "I'll never get these years back." And now I'm answering you with this. You won't get them back the same, but you'll get them back better. I'm not just going to replace what was taken. I'm going to exceed what was lost. This isn't compensation, it's transformation. I'm restoring what was eaten away by fear, devoured by regret, worn down by waiting. You thought the fruit of those seasons had withered, but I've preserved the roots. And now, new life is springing up. You'll see it not only in your circumstances, but in yourself. The version of you that's emerging is more grounded, more refined, more prepared. What you carry now could never have been formed without the fire. And what I'm giving you next requires that maturity, the depth, the discernment. Yes, there were years that felt like drought, but the harvest I'm bringing will overtake what was lost. I will restore relationships that were broken beyond recognition. I will bring healing to memories that once made you flinch. I will cause time to align in such a way that what should have taken decades will begin to unfold in moments. And when it does, you will not feel rushed, you will feel redeemed. You will not panic over what you missed, you will marvel at how perfectly I timed it. You see, I don't just give back time. I give back purpose. And the moments ahead of you will carry more weight, more peace, more impact than all the moments that felt wasted. You won't always understand how I do it, but you'll feel it. Doors will open without the striving you once knew. Connections will come that you never had to chase. Restoration will unfold without you forcing it. Because when I restore, I do it in such a way that even your scars begin to shine. No more mourning what didn't happen. No more carrying the burden of too late. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. I'm stepping into your timeline and writing the narrative. The parts you thought were over are becoming the foundation for what I'm about to build. You've waited with tears, I'm about to answer with joy. You've prayed through pain, I'm about to respond with promise. And what's coming next will not just touch your life, it will touch the lives of others through you. This is not the end of the story. This is me, your Redeemer, placing my hand upon the years you thought were wasted and declaring, "Watch what I can do with what they thought was lost." You've prayed for me to fix what was broken, to put the shattered pieces back in their place, to help you return to who you used to be before the storm came, before life shifted, before everything was altered. But I want to tell you something deeper now. I am not restoring you to your former state, I am reshaping you for something greater. You've asked me to repair the damage, but I am not in the business of simply patching up the old. I am doing something entirely new. I'm not returning you to the person you were. I'm reintroducing you to the person I always saw you becoming. What you've been through has changed you. Yes, but not in the way the world fears. You haven't been diminished. You've been defined. You haven't lost your identity, you've uncovered it. The process wasn't meant to crush you. It was meant to uncover what was buried beneath years of expectations, wounds, labels, and limitations. You thought you needed repair, but what you truly needed was revelation. And now, it's time for you to step into that revelation with confidence. I'm redefining you not based on your past, but based on my promises. No longer will you see yourself through the lens of failure. No longer will you carry the burden of who others expected you to be. I'm breaking every false identity that clung to your soul and giving you clarity that cannot be shaken. You are not who they said you were. You are not the sum of the roles you filled or the mistakes you've made. You are who I say you are, and I say you are chosen, established, and deeply loved. This redefinition will feel like both a shedding and a becoming. You'll begin to lose the desire to return to the old normal. It's because you've outgrown it. You're not returning, you're rising. The desires you once had may shift. The circles you were once comfortable in may feel too small now. The things that used to define your worth will lose their hold. That's not confusion, it's transformation. Don't resist it. Lean into it. I'm giving you a new language for your identity. I'm filling you with vision that stretches beyond survival. You're not being repaired to fit back in, you're being redefined to stand out. This isn't about rebuilding an old structure. It's about constructing something completely original with materials refined in fire and cemented in grace. You'll no longer feel like you're trying to piece yourself together. You'll begin to walk with the sense that you were always meant to look like this, live like this, love like this. Because what I'm doing now is not a touch-up, it's a transformation. One that reaches deep into the way you think, believe, and speak. And with it, I am bringing a new kind of peace, not the fragile kind that depends on circumstances, but the unshakable kind that flows from knowing exactly who you are and who I am in you. You'll see yourself differently. You'll carry yourself differently. Not with arrogance, but with holy assurance. Because now, your identity won't be rooted in striving, comparison, or applause. It will be grounded in communion. And from that place, everything else will take form. Your relationships, your calling, your voice, your future. All of it will begin to align with who I've redefined you to be. So, release the need to be fixed. Let go of the image of who you thought you had to become. That version of yourself served its season, but now, I'm calling you forward. Forward into fullness. Forward into freedom. Forward into identity not shaped by pain, but by presence. And I promise, what you discover will not only surprise others, it will surprise you. You won't even miss who you used to be, because who you're becoming will carry the reflection of my glory in ways your former self never could. You've lived in a fog for a long time, trying to move forward while not fully seeing what's ahead, questioning your every decision, second-guessing even the voice inside your own heart. There were times you begged me for direction, but all you received was silence. You searched for signs, waited for confirmations, asked for understanding, yet still the answers didn't come in the way you expected. But child, I've been listening all along. I never ignored your cry. I was preparing you to receive more than just answers. I was preparing you for revelation. Clarity isn't just about seeing the path, it's about understanding the purpose behind it. And now, I am lifting the veil. The confusion is breaking. The haze is clearing. You are about to step into a season of divine insight where things that once didn't make sense will suddenly align. Not piece by piece, but all at once. It will feel like a flood of understanding, a downpour of perspective that reshapes how you see me, how you see yourself, and how you view the road you've walked. This clarity will not come from the outside world, it will come from within, born through time spent in my presence. As you continue to draw near to me, you will begin to recognize thoughts that are not from me and silence them with truth. You will discern distractions before they derail you. You will sense red flags not through fear, but through wisdom. The uncertainty that once plagued you will no longer hold power over your steps, because your spirit will be led, not just by instinct, but by intimacy with me. You don't need to chase every voice anymore. You don't need to run from one opinion to the next, trying to figure out what's real. You will know, because I will speak with unmistakable clarity. Not always loudly, but always precisely. I will illuminate your thoughts in moments when you're not even seeking answers. In the middle of routine, I'll drop insight. During stillness, I'll bring direction. And when I do, you'll feel peace flood every part of your being, not because the path is easy, but because the confusion is gone. This is my promise. You won't wander aimlessly anymore. I'm not sending you in circles, I'm sending you forward with vision. I'm highlighting connections that carry divine weight. I'm revealing purposes behind the pain. I'm showing you how nothing was accidental, even the delays, even the detours, even the things you almost gave up on. You'll begin to see how it all connects, how every thread woven through your story leads to this moment. And as the picture becomes clearer, so will your confidence, not in yourself, but in me. Don't be afraid when the shift begins. It will come quickly. Things you once tolerated will no longer feel right. Places you used to dwell in comfortably may begin to feel constricting. That's not instability, it's elevation. I'm making room for new direction, and to receive it, you must release your need to understand every step in advance. You wanted clarity so you could control the outcome, but I'm giving you clarity so you can walk freely with me through the outcome I've already prepared. This understanding won't just change how you move, it will change how you pray, how you love, how you lead. It will flow into every corner of your life. People will notice a shift. Not because you suddenly figured it all out, but because you finally allowed me to reveal what your heart was ready to receive. And when it comes, it will bring peace that silences panic. It will bring purpose that dissolves confusion. It will feel like fresh rain on dry ground, reviving what's been dormant, awakening what's been asleep. So, steady your heart. The answers are coming. The insight is unfolding. I have not left you in the dark. I've been preparing your eyes to see clearly. And when the flood of clarity comes, you will no longer question if it's me. You'll know. Because I'm the only one who can bring light like this. There is a weight of glory I am preparing you to carry that cannot be sustained by yesterday's strength. What worked in the past will not be enough for what's ahead, not because you failed, but because I'm taking you to higher ground. I am not recycling the oil from a former season. I am releasing something new. You've been poured out, emptied, stretched, and now it's time for me to fill you again. This is not a refill of what you lost, it's an impartation of what you've never carried before. You may have felt dry recently, even after doing everything you know how to do. You've prayed. You've stayed faithful. You've waited through silence. You've obeyed even when you didn't feel the same passion that once fueled you. That's not weakness. That was the space I created so I could pour something greater into you, something not born of emotion, but of endurance. What I'm releasing now is for the work I've hidden in your hands, and it cannot be manufactured, manipulated, or mimicked. It can only be received. This anointing will touch every area of your life. It will be evident not by spectacle but by substance. You'll speak, and things will shift not because of eloquence, but because of authority. You'll walk into rooms that once intimidated you, and carry peace that commands the atmosphere. You'll respond to challenges with wisdom that surprises even you. This is not natural talent, it's divine enablement. It's my spirit equipping you with what your next assignment requires. And yes, this anointing will separate you. It will draw attention, not always applause, but recognition that you're marked for more. Some would understand it. Some may resist it. But you must not water it down to make others comfortable. You must not dim it to fit where you've already outgrown. You weren't chosen to blend in, you were appointed to stand apart. This fresh oil comes with responsibility. It comes with precision. It comes with a calling to steward what I'm entrusting to you without compromise. You won't have to strive to make things happen anymore. This anointing will open doors that hustle never could. It will grant access to places you never even considered. But more importantly, it will sustain you in the places I've already prepared. The gifts I've given you are now being activated in a new way, not just for your benefit, but for others to encounter me through your obedience. You are becoming a vessel, not only of truth, but of transformation. There will be evidence. Not loud or flashy, but undeniable. Fruit where there was barrenness. Wisdom where there was confusion. Courage where fear once lived. You will notice that your words begin to carry more weight, not because your voice got louder, but because your heart got cleaner. This is the oil that flows from surrender, not self-promotion. And it's being released because I trust you to carry it well. You asked me to prepare you, and now I am clothing you with what that preparation was all about. This isn't just a new season, it's a new mantle. A new authority. A new rhythm of walking with me. You're stepping into it not because you fought for it, but because you were faithful with little. And now, I'm trusting you with more. So lift your head. Wipe the tiredness from your eyes. What you thought was just survival was really the training ground for power. I'm not sending you out empty. I'm sending you out filled, saturated in my presence, sealed with my name, and strengthened by my spirit. The fresh anointing is here. Receive it. It is yours for what's next. Amen.